Hello, everyone. Good to see you all. You ready to begin? Great. Great. In this class, we've been looking at the behavior of people, and especially looking at how their behavior is affected by the place they live in. I'd like to continue this in today's lecture. Today, I'd like to talk about a study that was done to measure the pace of life. The study compares different cities around the world and asks the question, how and why do different places in the world have different paces of life? As you probably know, pace tends to be part of how we describe the atmosphere of the place. If you've traveled a bit or read about life in different places, you know that the pace of life differs in different cultures and places, right? But why are some places faster than others? What exactly are the factors that make up the differences in pace of life? Before we discuss this question, I want to make sure that we all have the same idea about the meaning of pace of life. By pace of life, I mean the speed at which life is lived or business is carried out. Okay? Let me get that up for you. So what specific characteristics of places and cultures make them slow or fast? One social psychologist, a fellow named Robert Levine, a professor at California State University in Fresno, California, created a study that allowed researchers to analyze some data, some numbers, that could accurately define the pace of life of a place. He wanted to know the answer to this question. What makes a place have a slow or fast pace? Here's how he and his researchers went about it. They analyzed and compared 31 different cities around the world. They looked at 3 different factors. Let me put them up here so you can follow. Right? What is the average walking speed of the place? Now, to measure that, he randomly selected people, both men and women, and watched the speed at which they walked in crowded downtown areas. He watched them as they walked a distance of 60 feet, or about 20 meters. Second, he looked at speed in the workplace. Now, he did this in an interesting way. He went to post offices all around the world. Yes, that's right, post offices. And he measured how long it took a postal clerk to sell someone a stamp. They measured the time that passed between when a clerk received money and the customer received the stamp. They looked at how much time that took. Okay? Are you with me so far? Yeah? Okay. Now, the third thing he looked at was how interested a place was in keeping accurate time on clocks. So, the researchers went to 15 randomly chosen banks and looked at their clocks. Then they compared the time on these clocks to the time reported by the phone company. You know what I mean. When you call the phone company to learn the time of day from a recorded voice, that time is considered to be very accurate. So, the researchers looked at these factors during the workday in 31 different cities around the world to get a specific idea of pace. By looking at these factors, the researchers came up with a rating of overall pace of life, the overall sense of time urgency. Let's look at a few highlights from this survey. The survey, by the way, was conducted in the late 1990s, so there may be some changes from what we would find in the same countries today. Okay, in the fastest category, Switzerland is in first place with high ranking in all 3 areas. Their clock accuracy ranked first. Then comes Ireland and Germany, and Japan came in fourth. Really, these top 4 countries were all very similar. Let's look now at places where life is slow. The slowest countries were all non-industrialized countries, meaning there is not much industry, not many factories producing products. You can see here that they are from the Middle East, Syria, Asia, Indonesia, and Latin America, El Salvador, Brazil, and finally Mexico. So what are the common factors in the countries at the top and those at the bottom of the list? For these experiments and other studies, the researchers found 5 main factors that affect the pace of life in cultures around the world. Let's look at those. People tend to move faster in places with vital economies, lots of money changing hands, a high degree of industrialization, lots of companies, larger populations, many people, cooler climates, not the hot ones, and cultures that value individualism versus valuing the group. Interesting, don't you think? Unfortunately, we can't get into this discussion now. We'll talk about these details in the next class. All right?